Hi, this is Kevin Garlington at TotalTennisDomination.com. If you would like to learn 3 concepts that will help you win more matches, this is the video to watch. I've been out watching tennis matches for about a month now. I've been traveling on the junior circuit in my district, and I'll be doing it again nationally. And by watching probably, maybe 50 to 100 matches over the course of the last month, I've seen some patterns that I want to share with you. So if you want to start dominating your opponents, figuring out some key strategies you can start using to win more matches, this is the video you need to watch. Like I said, in this video I want to share 3 concepts that I pretty much but really made apparent to me by watching so many matches. Over the course of the last month, you've probably seen I haven't really produced a lot of videos because I've been on the road. I've been traveling through Milwaukee, Omaha, Kansas City, and again, if you're in some of the other national tournaments like the clay court nationals or hard court nationals, you might see me there for different age groups. But one of the 3 concepts I really saw a lot after watching so many matches with some of the best juniors in the country, and I think this relates to the pros too. I see it in the pros, and I think you can probably use it in your game too to start really accelerating how many matches you can start winning. The first concept I call is you want to make sure that you're centralizing your forehand. Or if you're on the other side, you want to decentralize your opponent's forehand. What does this mean? The best players, regardless if they have a better forehand or backhand, they try to centralize their forehand most of the time, especially if they have a great forehand. What do I mean? Most recreational players, hopefully this isn't you, you're out there and you're playing from the middle of the court, you're playing a match, and you have this concept that if the ball lands over here, it should be a backhand. If the ball lands over here, it should be a forehand. What I mean by centralizing the forehand is making sure that we're moving the ability for you to hit forehands in the middle of the court. Okay? By controlling the middle of the court, you can start really taking control of the match. And to add on to this, what players I see do, which will lead into the next concept, is they start centralizing the forehand and they start pushing their opponent back, which is the second concept that I want to talk about, pushing your opponent back. How do you push your opponent back? I think a lot's been talked about power and how you can hit through the ball, and I've talked about a lot, but also one great means of pushing your opponent back, even if you don't have power, or to even neutralize someone's power, is using height, okay? So one of the concepts I see people doing is first they centralize their forehand, and the first ball they hit it higher above the net, and what that does, it forces their opponent to move back, giving up more court. Now, why is this important? The reason why this is important is because every time your opponent takes a step back, well, that gives you more time to react to their ball. So let's say you have a player who hits the ball really big. By pushing them back with one high ball and making them go back, guess what? You actually neutralize their power. Not only that, they have to cover more real estate. They have to run more. So think about this. Every time you step behind the baseline more, you have to cover more court compared to stepping or being closer to the baseline, which leads into my final concept, which is pushing forward, okay? I know we see on TV, especially after just watching clay courts, or not clay courts, and watching the French Open, how these guys are rallying behind. But the general concept in tennis, and it's been proven through stats, Craig O'Shaughnessy talked about it, is the most points are won by moving forward, usually coming forward and hitting a volley or being inside the baseline. And I watch this over and over again in matches. Being on the side of the court, you could really see what players being pushed back and what players, let's say, closing or being closer to the baseline. And I would say probably 85% of the time, the player who was closer to the baseline or trying to come in and force the issue was winning the points. And I think it happens because of one reason, and I mean it's scientific, that the player that's pushing inside the court is taking away time from the player on the other side. What's the one shot? Let's think about this for a second. What's the one shot if you hit? It doesn't really matter what level. You could be playing a professional to someone that you play weekly. What's the one shot you can hit that really neutralizes whatever skill level, whatever speed they have? Or what I think of it is when I come up to net and I'm able to hit a volley or I'm inside the baseline, basically I'm taking away time from my opponent. When I take away time from my opponent, they cannot react, okay? Time kills. I've talked about this in other videos before, but it's so important how you learn to take away time, whether that be letting the ball when it's short, moving up to it and taking the ball early, whether it be taking an approach and moving forward and hitting a volley so your opponent doesn't have time. That is crucial and key. When you're way behind the baseline, it's very hard to consistently win points because you're going to have to hit a huge forehand. You're going to have to be more accurate, more consistent. There's just a lot more you're going to have to deal with. So I really encourage you to make sure you're trying to move forward. So go out and use these 3 concepts in your next match and see how it works for you. And if you have any questions, just leave them below. I love answering questions. I know I haven't answered questions in about probably a month because I've been traveling so much, but I'm going to get to those. So this is Kevin Garlington from TotalTennisDomination.com. Okay? Go out and play tough.